Welcome to the Doctor Strange Review Podcast. I'm your host, Pranav Sriraman, joined by my co-host, Shyam Punnachalil, and a special guest, Elizabeth Pott. Shyam, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. And for our special guest, Elizabeth, how are you doing today?
Well, this movie kind of broke me, so I kind of need therapy, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, with that being said, guys, I'm gonna start off with Elizabeth with this one. If you could break down the plot for us, what would you describe it as?
I would basically describe it as like if you like horror movies, you'll probably like this one. It's a lot of horror elements because of the director Sam Raimi. He's directed a lot of horror movies before, so he kind of added a lot of his horror elements into the movie. So it's a little scarier than other Marvel movies. Basically, the plot is Doctor Strange is fighting a new threat that is threatening the multiverse. And we have special appearances from Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff, and America Chavez. So it's a really fun movie. I thought it was a fun movie. I mean, there are some parts where I was like, I mean, it was okay. I mean, but overall, I thought it was pretty okay.
And Shyam, how about you? What would you describe the plot of the movie, and what were your overall takeaways?
For me, I didn't really think that the plot was too great in my opinion. I don't really like how America Chavez specifically is kind of used as like an object for Wanda's power. And I think Wanda has good motivations, but overall, I just didn't like how they objectified America. But I do agree with Liz on the fact that the horror elements in this movie were pretty good overall, and I think if anyone who is interested in horror elements or horror movies would like the movie as well.
Oh my God, give me a break. I couldn't disagree further. I couldn't disagree any more with you guys. I did not believe this movie was that great at
What?
all. Especially for the standard that we hold the Marvel Cinematic Universe to. Listen, it was I wasn't even that entertained. Let me be completely honest with you. I wasn't that entertained at all.
You weren't entertained by Wanda killing everyone.
No, I was not. I was not. It was not fun. It was not a fun, iconic scene whatsoever. Let's just start off where we open up the movie with Doctor Strange and from a different universe and America Chavez just running and like fighting this creature
That was
thing.
kind of confusing at
And
first.
that was confusing. And then the entire plot just felt all thrown together last minute after the events of WandaVision. I mean, everything just felt kind of out of place. I get it. That's what the movie is about. See, Multiverse of Madness. Everything is supposed to be out of place. But that's not what I mean by what I say out of place. I meant that the organization structure of how they planned out the movie was really poor. I didn't think they had a direct like I don't believe that they had a direct line of thinking of what they were gonna do next with the movie. It didn't follow one logical sequence, and honestly, until like the end of the movie, I didn't even really understand what the plot was. Was it Doctor Strange like exploring this multiversal threat, or was it all about Wanda? It was that Wanda wasn't sad about like being with her imaginary kids.
I think it was
Overall,
about both.
I just didn't like this movie whatsoever. You guys can chime in. You can disagree with all you want. I wasn't a big fan of the plot at all. I thought it was really unorganized. What would you guys say to that?
Well, I thought the plot was okay. I just was like, with the cameos that we had in this movie. By the way, spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it because this is going to be spoilers. I would click off this. But when they introduced the Illuminati with Reed, Professor X, and Captain Carter, and Monica Rambeau, and then Black Bolt, I think those were the cameos. They Reed is supposed to be like kind of the smartest man alive, right? And that like he's supposed to be very smart, yet he reveals Black Bolt's powers to Wanda, like giving her like a basically like a move on how to like overtake them, basically. Like he told her that Black Bolt's mouth gave him powers, and so she took away his mouth and blew up his head. And then he says that, and then he says, she asks him, "Do you have children?" He says, "Yes," and then good, there'll be someone to raise him, and then kills him. And then Captain Carter's like, "I can do this all day," and then gets killed a minute later. And they're supposed to be like the best of the best, and yet they get killed so easily by Wanda. which I
Their
guess
cameos sucked. Let's just be honest.
yeah, I was like,
I agree.
I mean, I get they were trying to show how powerful Wanda was, but honestly, those people are supposed to be a little more power and maybe get a little longer of a fight scene, except instead of Captain Carter getting killed a minute after she says, "I can do this all day."
Not only was the writing really poor for how they brought out the Illuminati, I
I think
thought
them
that
bringing
it
them
was
out was kind
I
of good. The bringing it
it
out, it was
wasn't it wasn't. I disagree. I just thought it was kind of random. And number two, I just saw the way they killed them all off. Like if you're gonna introduce them, at least like make it memorable.
yeah,
They
they
killed them
barely
all
had
off
any screen
immediately,
time
and then afterwards, I just thought like the dialogue was kind of weird between them. They just gave me like
about
really poor
another Doctor
vibes in
Strange.
general. Yeah, like it was just very corny to me. I just felt that it was kind of forced. The jokes are forced. Oh, I could do this all day, and then she gets killed a minute later. Captain
I
Carter. I
get it was
mean,
like kind of a
I,
callback to Captain America and stuff, but like
it
you
was
could have
very
gone a little
corny.
bit
It was
longer.
very corny. It was very corny. It was very corny. Is
They
what
could
I'm
have gone a
saying.
little bit
Like
longer with those
you don't
cuts.
have to make it. You don't have to make a callback to Captain America. Make your own thing. Like I get it's a multiverse. I get their similarities, but oh my god, it was so forced. Sean, what were your initial takeaways from that entire introduction of the Illuminati?
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that. I do think it was very forced and very jarring. To just see like for example like a Fantastic Four member or Agent Carter like that was just so random. And honestly, I feel like they have no relevance to the actual um divide and conflict with Wanda and Doctor Strange.
I
So
I
during that entire sequence of events, I was just like, what? Like, why are they here right now? And like they died so quickly, like that was even more unfortunate. But it was just one of those things where it's like it's super jarring and random. I don't even know why that they were even in the movie to begin with.
yeah, I expected Captain Carter to premiere because I'm on Marvel TikTok and they saw Captain Carter's shield in the poster. If you like zoom in on the poster, you can see Captain Carter's shield. So I kind of expected her to be in the movie. But what I did not expect was for her to die like seconds after she says, "I can do this all day." That was what I had a problem with.
And the entire Christine subplot. I like what they tried to do. I'm gonna give them a little bit of credit here. I liked what they tried to do, but it didn't feel like the right movie to put it in. Is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
it just felt the movie was already so over the place. Wasting that subplot on a movie like that just felt misplaced to me. Um, what were your guys' thoughts on Christine? Because if you guys did watch What If, to our listeners out there, What If is a show on Disney Plus revolving around alternate realities in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We do see a Christine subplot that isn't the same, but it has similar elements to it. What were your guys' thoughts on this Christine subplot being in this movie with her relationship with Doctor Strange? And do you guys believe it was implemented properly?
I thought it was well. I think they're trying to close out Christine and Doctor Strange the Christine and Doctor Strange story because in the comics he actually marries someone else who was actually brought in. Spoiler for the end credit scene. Who is actually the woman in the I forget her name, but she actually in the comics marries Doctor Strange. So I think they're trying to close. They were trying to close out their story so that he can develop a relationship with this woman. I forget her name. It's like slipping my mind. But I think that it was, I mean, the also another theme of the movie was like being happy and what you would do to be happy. And obviously he was happy with Christine and he wanted to be with Christine, and then they showed that in every universe he's not does not end up with Christine. And but I thought what was really cute was the quote he said at the end of the movie where he said, "I love you in every universe." Like that's really cute, honestly. But I mean, I agree with you. The plot, I mean, it was okay in Splinter. Like it could be have been improved a little bit, but overall, I think they had to do it if they wanted to move on. If they wanted Strange to move on with another woman.
The thing is, I don't. I think I kind of did a disservice to the movie when I talked about how bad the plot was. Let me actually give real analysis. So the movie, I talked about the beginning of the movie regarding Doctor Strange in the other universe, and then we just see America Chavez jump into the other universe after immediately going to Christine's wedding. And then after that, there's a whole fight scene.
Well,
And
he
then
wakes up from a dream, and then you see it's a
right,
dream.
right. My bad. But like the sequence of events went so quick that you couldn't really process everything. And then after that fight scene, they like a bunch of stuff happens. Basically, they go to Kamar-Taj. He seeks out Wanda's help and everything like that. And then they just jump from universe to universe. You see what I'm saying? It just felt too rushed.
Yeah.
It felt too rushed, and it was a shorter movie for a Marvel movie. It was only 2 hours and 6 minutes. Maybe they could have stretched it out a little bit and had a better developed plot. Maybe that could have helped. But the experience I had was very good. I felt everything was too rushed.
Well, I personally, Wanda is my favorite character in the MCU, so I personally enjoyed watching her be just killing
Amazing.
everyone. I like
Very
seeing her kill
amazing.
everyone.
Very amazing.
Very amazing. See her very amazing. With her basically just slaying everyone.
Right. And I mean, I like scenes like that. Like I get it. I get the appeal behind it. We saw Darth Vader in Rogue One have his hallway scene, that iconic scene where he basically force chokes all of the rebels. I get it. I get the appeal to that. But it just didn't hit the same with me because I mean they rushed the scene to Carthage like 2 seconds afterwards, after Wanda and Doctor Strange were in peaceful talks. Immediately it turns violent and then there she starts killing everyone. Everything felt
Yeah.
rushed, is what I'm. Sean, if you want anything to add to that.
Yeah, like essentially, I agree with everything that you guys said. It felt very rushed because of just like how they wanted to just cram so much parts of the plot into one movie, and I think it would have benefited if it were longer, in my opinion. And as for the Christine subplot, I feel like they're just like, I feel like with that, like that's an example of them trying to rush things, as they're just trying to kill that entire subplot. And to me, I just think like, oh, that's kind of weird, right? Because in the first Doctor Strange movie, we literally had a subplot that was almost centered around Christine and Doctor Strange's relationship, at least during like the first half of that movie. So to see Marvel just kind of wanting to kill that is just jarring, and I think it's an example of them wanting to rush the production and the plot of this movie.
It could have been that the actress who plays her, Rachel McAdams, it could have been like that she only signed on for one more movie. So they had to kind of close out that plot because the actress wasn't available. That could have been the case, but it was pretty rushed.
So, guys, to our final point, what would you guys rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? Liz, we'll start with you.
7. I was 7. I liked seeing Wanda, obviously, because she's my favorite character. Even though the plots were rushed, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty decent movie, even with the plots being rushed. And I liked the horror elements of it, even if they did scare me a little bit. So yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Sean?
I would personally give this movie a 5 out of 10 because I didn't really like the plot, and I did not like how they used America Chavez as like an object, because she's kind of used as like a catalyst for Wanda's powers. And then I also really did not like about how they were rushing the plot in general. Um, and so overall, I think with these issues combined, that's my score.
For me personally, I'm gonna give this movie a very harsh 3 out of 10, but I believe that score is justified. I just didn't like it at all. I mean, the plot was rushed. I've said that numerous times, but even with the poor plot, I just felt that the dialogue was really bad. The acting could have been at an even higher level than what I expected. I mean, I just didn't like much of this movie at all. I thought it was a pretty underwhelming movie experience for me. But that's gonna do it for this episode of the Doctor Strange review podcast. We had high expectations, but I mean, outside of Elizabeth, who liked this movie a lot, I had pretty I had a pretty low regard for how this movie turned out, and I think Sham speaks along the same lines. But thank you guys for tuning in as always. We do this all the time here at the MHS News Production YouTube channel. For the best content, make sure you subscribe. But until next time, guys, peace.